Thank you for the warm welcome. Where's Kerry? Where's Kerry? This is the first time GymShark have let me out of GSHQ to present as well. So a little nod to you there. And I changed my slides on the way down, hence the quick change here. Naughty, I know, so bear with me. What do I want to talk to you about today? I want to talk to you about people development and the sports coaching link. But I want to talk about disruptive people development and the sports coaching link. So who am I? I'm Adam Davies. I'm the people development manager at GymShark. And this is a little bit about my story so far. So I graduated from university with a degree in sports coaching and development, which is where this all sort of started and came about. Jumped into Leicester City Football Club for 4 years, the Leicester, like it. I spent 4 years there as an individual development coach, and from there went directly to industrial automation and engineering with a group of engineers, so working for a company called Fanuc UK. And now this place, for those of you who are aware of GymShark and what we do, obviously I feel very fortunate to work here. There's some fantastic stuff going on. So what do I want to link today? I've coined this the field of play, pitch or office, because that's where all my experience is on the pitch. And how can we transfer that into an office environment? So there's three things that get me out of bed where coaching's concerned, and that is them. The challenge, developing success, and energy. But what do they mean? So the challenge for me is being obsessed with a problem. When I first started coaching, I used to look at coaching as a solution-based thing. I used to think, oh, why is that happening and what can I do? What can I suggest? And as time went on, I thought, oh, this isn't getting any sort of result. This isn't getting what I need. So I switched that up to being obsessed with the problem. So I now look at things in the view of, rather than the solution, why is that happening? Why is it manifesting? How's it affecting our culture and our custodians? The second is developing success. Leicester City was an environment where there was loads of success, real high-level athletes, professionals, and we're trying to tell them to do something more or do something better. And equally at GymShark, at the moment, we're lucky enough to have a lot of success in a very short period of time, and we're trying to stretch people and do more even so. So it's a real difficult environment, and I promise there is a link with this picture. It's a picture of me, tongue out and all, kicking a football with my left foot. And the reason I put this on there is because when I was a kid, my dad might tell you different, but I had a lot of success in football, just using my left foot. I went to various different clubs and whatnot, I did okay. And I went to Birmingham City for a very short trial, and the chief scout at Birmingham said, I like you, Adam. You're a nice kid and you're a good player, but I'm going to give you two things. And I said, okay, what are those? I was about 11 at the time. He said, you're never going to kick with your right foot because you don't want to, and you're never going to be taller than 5'7". Now, I was 11, but lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today. I can't kick with my right foot, and I am about 5'7". So, the last point is energy, and where I get my energy from, and where people get their energy from when they come to a coaching session. Why is this important? I suppose I have to work hard at not being that problem solver still. I have to use a lot of energy to not go, oh, this is what I've seen before, and this is how I think we can change it. So there are three things that sort of get me out of bed. And that's coaching, and it's me watching people run. So if I was to give you my definition of what coaching is, it would be that. And rather than read it all out, I'll let you go ahead. And I started thinking to myself, how do I transfer that into the room today? How am I transferring it into the organisation? And I thought, I've got it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it into the medium of something I'm comfortable with. A football team. And there are three different stages of a football team. There's 5 elements to this. But we've got our defence and our foundation, our midfield and our attacking lineup. But we've got to start with a chairman or chairwoman. And that's the business goals, right? Because if we're developing some sort of learning strategy, whatever it looks like, it has to be linked. Otherwise, we're just guessing, and that's okay, but that's other people's map of the world and not that of the organisation. So we've got to start with the chairman. They're the person who set the North Star. Creative sent me that image. I said, this will work well. So what will a chairman say? They might say commercial businesses and football clubs alike are striving for success, and poor results mean there's a consequence in one way or another. And I think we can all agree with that, right? If we're not delivering, there's going to be some level of confidence, whether that's in sport or in business. So then we move into our team itself, and we'll start with foundation, which is communication. Reactive and rushed decisions without bringing the team on board can result in a lack of trust, breakdown in communication, and can leave people questioning decisions. And that's something I took directly from my time at Leicester City. If we didn't communicate the why to people, they would just act accordingly. So I turned up at GymShark and was tasked with L&D and people management and people development. And I thought, what do I need to start with after I've got my business goals and I know what that is? And that is definitely communication, and the communicating why, even down to the most basic element. As long as we're bringing people on board and they can understand it, we're bound to get a little bit more from them, right? So then we can jump into midfield, or pass the ball into midfield if we're going to use metaphors and anecdotes. And that's our culture. Why is our culture important, and why does it play in the middle of the park? We use that word a lot. We've used that word tonight. But what does it actually mean? What is culture? To me, culture is how we go about doing our stuff, right? The way we do things, what we're known for. It's sort of not tangible. It's an intangible thing that exists that we all have in our organisations. And we all want to keep it, shift it, change it, do something with it. And it's at the centre of everything. But how well do people understand it or know it? How well is it communicated? Is that message, is that value and belief clear to everybody? The quotes are poor engagement, low morale and no rapport can have a negative impact on culture development and the coaching environment. So it plays in the middle because it's the centre of everything. If we lose that, we lose our organisation, we lose our discipline, and more importantly, we lose our people. So then we go on the attack. And in attack, we've got our ahead of the curve thinkers, something we try and encourage at GymShark as much as possible. Why are we using this last? And a willingness to change can be potentially catastrophic for a business looking to be ahead of the curve. I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking, why did I use such words like catastrophic? But there you go. We have to vary the way we approach and attack everything that we do. If we don't, we're in danger of becoming stagnant and predictable. And stagnant and predictable will only get us so far, but it could also lead us to extinction, essentially. So a coach once said to me, while I was having a conversation with a senior coach on the side, he said, what's your session set up? I said, well, I try and make it different every time. He went, why? And I said, well, it'd be boring, won't it, if it's the same thing and it's just repetition over and over again, or click through if we're linking to learning and development. And he went, I like that. I'm going to steal that. And I said, okay. And he went, you know why? He went, stubbornness in style and session setup leads to two things. I said, okay, Gaz. And he went, poor performance and poor results. And actually, at 18, I thought, yeah, whatever, mate. And now, in a professional environment, I think that's so true, isn't it? Or at least I think it is. So if the chairman's the person who starts it all off with the business goals, who keeps it all ticking over, who keeps it together? And the manager for me, if I'm underpinning with a statement, is trust and autonomy. And I'll give you a nice anecdotal picture of someone who's inspired me there. So entertainment, fun and healthy challenge can be key ingredients of a positive working environment. Allowing individuals to make mistakes and learn from them is an incredibly important form of autonomy. For me, the role of the manager, much like people have said today, actually, the speakers before me, is to coach, develop people, provide the context and the environment, keep people accountable, feedback, and recognise. And if they're doing that, they don't necessarily have to be the best at the job. They're just keeping people accountable for it and keeping those people that are really skilled on the path. So what's the point? I asked myself on the way down. The best teams I played in had no fear of mistakes. They were accountable. Everybody was aligned to the same goal. We all understood what was expected of us. We all worked hard, and we used mistakes as a development opportunity, but we understood the reason. So that wasn't a thing. We weren't worried about messing up at all. The second thing was ownerships, and they're the best teams I coached. I might have set up the environment, I might have given people the platform to go or presented the challenge, but they owned it and looked after it. They were the technical experts in the field. I was just the person who set it up for them. They were accountable. A phrase that I use or I coin here is that they're autonomous for it. And it's not something that's set up or produced by me. It's very much the ownership of the person. And the last is technical experts or not. Organisations I've worked for in the past, and probably the people in the room, the technical experts in the role become the manager. They're not necessarily the best people person. They're not necessarily the best person for the job in terms of management. Now that's okay if they are, but the best organisations I've worked for, and I'm going to add GymShark to that now, there's loads of technical experts who know this stuff better than the manager, but the manager's providing them with the environment and the opportunity to go out and do that stuff. So they're three main important points for me. So that's my term for disruptive. That's the most disruptive workforce I've worked in so far, and I've not worked for very long. But those people are allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to be challenging, but also they want to be challenged. And I think that says a lot about where the organisation is at the moment. So, key themes to take away. Allow people to get it wrong, because 99% of the time, if you do that, they'll be trying to get it right for you, because you're giving them the chance. The second is challenge. Coach more, ask questions, allow questions to be asked. The third is no more I reckon. If we're making a decision and we're bringing people in on it, I reckon can't be a thing anymore. I reckon this is a good idea and therefore. We've got to back it with some sort of data and validation, even if it's just a conversation with everybody. A&E. I still think our learning and development, or our people development, has got to have a reactive element to it. There's some stuff that we've got to do, but it can't be the only thing that we do. So we've got to think ahead. And the last is time. In business, even at GymShark, people will say to me, I haven't got time, or I haven't got time to attend that training, there's too much on. In sport, it's not a thing. We've got to give people a lot of time. We've got to give them a chance to develop, and we've got to give them a chance to get it right and wrong. So if that's 1 or 5 things I'm taking, time's especially important. But there is one more, and that's be more coach-like. If we're talking about facilitating, creating environments, asking questions, allowing people to be the ownership of whatever it is they're doing, we've got to be more coach-like. And if you said to managers at the start of anything, you've got to be a coach, that's a pretty scary proposition, I'm sure you'll agree. But with clever questioning, clever tools like the one we've seen today, and empowering them on how to ask these questions, the people who are the technical experts can take your business to the next level for you. Or at least that's what I'm seeing at this moment in time, and what I've saw at places like Leicester City. Thank you.